sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. And that's one of those interesting rhymes that nobody really believes, because words can hurt. And from the beginning, they do.
I always knew that there was something different about me. And now when I look back on my childhood, I can see the things.
I remember looking into my mother's magazines and finding the women really beautiful, and I would cut them out and hide them away in my favorite book.
I had like a Barbie doll in my desk, and these like kids are just like sneaking up behind me, and I was sitting in line and I was like, oh my god, here's my Barbie. And they just all started laughing, and I was like, oh my god, I feel so embarrassed.
All the kids started picking up that I wasn't like them. I wasn't running around bragging about, I don't know, Tonka trucks or something like that. But I was braiding all the girls' hair, because the girls were always fond of me, but I wasn't fond of them in the same way. I thought it was more that I wanted to be them.
Heterosexual. A person who is physically and emotionally attracted to someone of the opposite gender.
Homosexual. A person who is physically and emotionally attracted to someone of the same gender.
Bisexual. A person who is physically and emotionally attracted to both genders.
So, all the kids in the area, they picked up on me really quick. They'd follow me home, they'd throw things at me, everything, and it's really hard to deal with. It was really hard for me.
I've been called
Gay,
homo,
queer,
faggot,
les,
fairy,
dyke,
homo, queer, faggot, fairy,
dyke, there's so many out there.
Nazi homophobe. That was me when I was 13. Yeah, I remember having a great deal of hatred for gays when I was 13. I don't even know why. I remember back then being able to hate very easily.
I guess it was a matter of survival, becoming assimilated and in order to fit in.
People explain to me, oh, those are just fags over there and stuff like that, But I was like, oh yeah. And I was just going along with them because I didn't want people to think different of me and stuff like that.
I was very afraid, and in that space where all these negative things kept repeating in my head about what a freak I was or how different I was.
Gays were portrayed to me as perverts and pedophiles, and women who were brutes and guys who were diseased, and I just didn't want to identify with that.
Homophobia. A fear or hatred of homosexuality, often exhibited by discrimination and harassment.
Gonna start. Does anyone know what the word homophobia means? Just throw it out there. TEACH is an acronym for Teens Educating and Confronting Homophobia. Afraid of gay guys. Okay. So the phobia then. It's the fear, right? So we've got fear. Just some names and stereotypes associated with gay, lesbian, bisexual people.
Faggot.
Thank you.
Fruit boy.
We talk about the names that we associate with gay people and the stereotypes, and we like to debunk those myths, to talk about those words, because if it didn't matter, then they wouldn't be out there. They wouldn't be written on the desks, and they wouldn't be written on the lockers. And it's amazing what one word can do.
When you see a man that's gay, a lot of people will automatically assume that he's like a pedophile or something like that. You know what I mean?
Another one on here.
That's why people have so much hate towards these gay people.
And that's an interesting one. 90 to 98% of pedophiles are straight men. So that's another one as well. We like to debunk the myths as we're going along. So when you hear things over and over again, even if they're not directly aimed at you, that's how you start to think about society. And that's how you start to think about your fellow schoolmates or roommates or, whoever, is by the words that they use.
I couldn't concentrate in school anymore. My grades slipped dramatically.
I had no energy. I didn't want to do anything. I hermited in my room all day when I wasn't at school. I didn't have a lot of friends.
I thought it was something I just had to deal with, and maybe I could just pretend it wasn't there. Maybe I could just hide it away in a box, my inner box where I hide everything.
I was in complete denial, I think, about where I came from and who I was.
I knew that I had this big secret that had to be lifted off my shoulders. And that probably was the hardest thing, was being able to just express it how I could.
I think maybe if I had someone to talk to, then it wouldn't have been as bad as it was, but I didn't, so it was like a lot of suppressed everything, like anger and depression and that sort of thing.
I had to repress all these feelings, and I had no one to talk to. I just remember feeling alone in the world, absolutely alone. There was no one on TV, there was no one in the radio, there was no one at home. My friends didn't understand it. My friends would ask me questions that I couldn't answer. It was very frustrating.
You almost feel like you're like a lamb tied to a stake, almost, when you're like young and gay and alone. It's like a lamb tied to a stake.
The simple fact is sometimes names do hurt because you realize the meanings behind different words. People say them to you and you can't help but be hurt by them sometimes.
The worst word for me, a derogatory word, I guess, would be faggot.
I think when I hear bad words, I think that one triggers most of my emotions around being tortured in school.
People throw around words they don't know all the time. Words they've heard, they sort of think they know the meaning. And that's an important thing, is for people to realize what they're saying, the impact of what they're saying.
Faggot, Old French, fagot. A bundle of wood, sticks, or twigs used for fuel. Slang, a male homosexual.
In the 13th century, and lasting for over 400 years, the Inquisition traveled throughout Europe in search of heretics. And who were the heretics? Anyone who was unusual, eccentric, pagan, anyone who was considered to be different.
Witch burnings were common, but the witches were innocent women, midwives, healers, sisters, mothers.
The fires were fueled with faggots. The faggots were sticks and wood, and the strangled bodies of homosexual men. It was a dangerous time to be different.